How's it going, everybody? Well, it is a really cold day here in the south. I am snowed in today, so this would be a good time to show you guys my entire music and movie collection. Now, I've already shown my video game collection, so if you're interested in seeing that, I've already shown all that, so I should leave a link to the video maybe up here in this corner or down below in the description. You can check that out. But for this video, it's going to be about movies and music and what I use to play my movies and music on. So if you're interested in that, I hope you enjoy. I'm going to try to make this as brief as I can, but there's still a lot to show, so this still may go on for a while. So either way, I hope you enjoy. Let's just get started. Okay, so this is the epicenter of my hi-fi setup. This is where most of the equipment is. I just have everything sitting here on my entertainment center below my TV. That's the only space I have to put all this stuff. Maybe one day I'll have more space to where I can build like an actual hi-fi rack. That would be cool, but for now, this will do. So we'll start off with this Sony 4K Blu-ray player. This is a Sony UBP X800 M2, and the M2 signifies that this model supports Dolby Vision. So even though I do have a PS5 that'll play 4K Blu-rays, I don't think the PS5 supports Dolby Vision playback on Blu-rays. So I wanted to have this separate player for that, and this also supports high-resolution audio. So this will play back Super Audio CDs if I ever get any of those. I don't know if I ever will, but just in case I do, I have this player here that'll play them. So yeah, Sony 4K Blu-ray player. And below that, I got my really fancy cassette deck here. This is Sony's, like one of Sony's most highest end dual-well cassette decks. And it's really fancy. You power it on. It's got the power doors. And so you just put in a tape here. Like that. You put in a tape. And you press play. And it'll start playing. So really, really nice. And you open this door up here. And you got all these fancy controls. You got your control level for recording level. And you can also adjust tape speed on deck A, so if you're playing back a tape that was recorded too slow or too fast, you can adjust the playback speed to compensate. And this cassette deck also supports Dolby S, which is the most advanced Dolby noise reduction system. So that was very nice. It's really cool to mess with that. And the Dolby noise reduction system is supposed to reduce tape hiss. That's the idea. And yes, this is a pretty nice deck. It also includes a remote as well. So I mean, I never had a cassette deck where you can actually control the tape using a remote, so that was pretty fancy. And this deck is the Sony TCWR901ES, and the ES line for Sony cassette decks were more high-end, more advanced models. So really cool there. Alright, moving on. Here we have, this is a very fancy deck as well. This is a Philips DCC recorder. Now, this is a Philips DCC player, DCC 600. Now, if you don't know what DCC is, it's essentially the follow-up to this, the analog cassette. This is a digital cassette. So think of it as like CDs, but on tape. That's essentially what DCC is. And this is what a DCC cassette looks like here. And it pops out here of its case. So this is the actual DCC cassette. Right there, if it'll focus. And on the back here, if you, and those are the sprockets. So that's how the tape moves. And you can see the tape right there. So that is a DCC. And these actually sound pretty good. Sounds really nice and clear. And you open it up like this, and the tape goes in this way. And you can press play, and it'll automatically close, and then it'll start reading the tape, and then it'll start playing. Yeah, and it does sound pretty good too. I may give some audio samples later on. I'm not sure if I'll do that yet or not. But this does sound pretty good. And I'm a very big tape fanatic. So now, unfortunately, DCC was a format that was released in the early to mid-90s, but it didn't last very long because people just wanted discs. They didn't want tapes anymore. So DCC, unfortunately, was not a success. But it's still a very good, a very cool and interesting format, for sure. Now, below that, though, we do have a CD player. This is a 5-disc CD changer, also from Sony. And this is a CDP C335. And I do like this player, but there is one problem with it, and that sometimes while playing discs, sometimes the CD will start skipping and it just won't play it anymore. And I think that has something to do with the tracking, like it'll lose track of it. So unfortunately, there is a slight issue with this player, but it does work at least half the time. It has this really big tray here, so it's so you can load 5 different discs. So you can put one CD here in slot number 1, and then you can press this button here, and it'll allow you to load, and you can load a second disc, and then you can put in a third one if you want, a fourth one, a fifth one, and then close the tray, and then it should start playing. Yes, it's playing now. So yeah, I mean, very nice to have a CD player. Those CD players, you know, pretty much any disc, like pretty much anything can be a CD player now. Like any DVD player, any Blu-ray player will play CDs. Even Xbox, you know, game consoles will play them as well. But I just like the fact this is a CD changer, so you can play back multiple discs at the same time. And finally here, we got this Laserdisc player. This is a Pioneer COD D604. Now, if you don't know what Laserdiscs are, they're really, really big discs that had movies on them that were... it was a movie format really designed for, like, really, you know, movie enthusiasts back in the late 70s, 80s, and throughout the early and mid-90s. Because back then... Laserdisc, before DVDs came out, Laserdiscs were really like the best format to own. But I never got to experience it, so I'm happy to be able to experience it now. So you can power it on here, and if you open up the Laserdisc tray, you can see how big the Laserdisc tray is, and that's because the Laserdiscs are literally this big. They are the same size as a vinyl LP album. So you put that in the player, and that is a Laserdisc. Now, unfortunately, Laserdiscs, they haven't aged too well. They only output composite video, so they don't look very good on big modern displays. But if you upscale them using some upscalers, they may look decent. And animation, actually, I think looks better on Laserdisc than live action. And as you can hear, the disc also spins pretty loud. Though it ain't too loud. You won't be able to hear it, I think, as long as you have, as long as you're sitting kind of far away from it. But still, a really neat format, and this player can also play back both sides of the disc, so you don't have to get up and swap discs around like this. This player will play both sides of the disc. And this player will also play back audio CDs as well. You can put an audio CD right there, and it would play it as well. Now, all of my audio equipment is all connected to this receiver. This is an Onkyo TX8050 network stereo receiver. And this receiver is, I mean, it's kind of old. It's from 2011. I mean, so it's somewhat modern, but it's definitely not brand new. This one does support HD radio, but you need a separate You need a separate module for that, and I may try to find that, but they are hard to find. But this one has a lot of different inputs. It's also only a 2-channel. It's only a stereo, but that's all I needed because all this equipment is just 2-channel. It's not 5.1 or anything, so this is just perfect for this setup. And you can change inputs here with this knob. And it also has a built-in FM radio, like most receivers do. And I also managed to get a hold of the remote as well, the original remote for this, so that's handy to have. The only thing I don't like about this receiver is that you cannot custom name these inputs, so you have to select between a pre-selected menu of selections. So you can't just input your own. You can't just input your own name for an input. So you can't name this like DCC. I can't name an input like Laserdisc, or I can't name an input, whatever. You have to select between a pre-selected list of inputs, and that's all you can do. But other than that, this receiver works pretty well, and it does a pretty good job. And as for speakers, as you just heard a little sample there earlier, these are a somewhat matching pair of Onkyo speakers for the receiver. I don't remember the exact model number. It might say on the back of this one here. Yeah, these are Onkyo SKM 100. So these are rated at 100 watts and 8 ohms. So yeah, so despite how small these speakers are, they actually output a pretty good sound. They actually sound pretty good, and so I'm pretty happy with them. I found them online. They weren't expensive at all, so I'm happy with them for the price. And yeah, so they sound pretty good. So yeah, this is the whole setup: the speakers, the receiver, and all this hi-fi gear here. I guess the last thing I'll mention is, I guess I will mention this little device here. This is a Grace Link by Grace Digital. This is essentially just a little like internet radio tuner. I did do a video on this some time ago. I'll link that video somewhere as well, so you can go watch it and see what I think of this. I will say though that my impressions of this tuner may have actually improved a little bit since that video, because even though some of these radio stations do not work, a lot of them do, and this is pretty handy for making recordings. So if you plan on making recordings off the radio to tape or whatever, this may actually be a good solution, because this is a simple box just to have all your stations, and you can also use your smartphone and stream to this box using Bluetooth, and this does have an RCA audio output jack as well as an optical output jack. So I have this connected to the DCC recorder to record on that, and I also have hooked up to the tape deck so I can record on tape as well. So this is like one of the best solutions I've ever had for making audio tapes, and so I think I will find this box very, very useful. Not everyone may find it useful, but for me, this is a very, very good recording setup. So what's the point in having all that fancy equipment if we don't have anything to play on it? So let's take a look at all the Blu-rays and movies, DVDs, music CDs I have here. These are all on this shelf and below the video games. Now, over the years, I've been slowly collecting some movies, and last year I really expanded a lot of my Blu-rays here. So let's go through them all. Starting with the 4K Blu-rays. I only have 4 for now, but I do plan on getting more. I'll probably upgrade a few of these movies to the 4K versions. But this is actually a pretty nice collector's edition of Jumanji. If you open this up here, the inside here looks like the game board, and it's got the 4K Blu-ray in there as well as the standard Blu-ray. So that's very neat looking. And we also got, this is the new Super Mario Brothers movie. This was at Walmart for $10 over the holidays, so I had to get that. Of course, the classic Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder. Love that movie. Still a sealed copy of E.T., another classic. So cool to have that in 4K. Now, these are just standard Blu-rays, so these are 1080p Blu-rays. Inside Out, Lightyear. And some of these are still sealed too. Like, yeah, this one's still brand new. Haven't opened it yet. Got Casper, A Perfect World, one of my favorite Clint Eastwood and Kevin Costner movies. AI, another great movie. Paper Towns, Jennifer's Body, Gran Torino, Dances with Wolves. I'll probably... this one's also available in 4K, so I may upgrade that one later. Secondhand Lions, Castaway, Saving Private Ryan. I'll probably also want to upgrade this to 4K soon. The Mask of Zorro. This contains both Antonio Banderas movies, The Mask of Zorro and The Legend of Zorro. So that's a combo pack. And this was a good movie here, Mr. Church. I actually saw this on YouTube. It was available for free to watch on YouTube a few times. And I liked it so much that I wanted to get the Blu-ray. And so I did. It's still available on Amazon, I believe. And of course, I'm a big Back to the Future fan, so I had to get the Ultimate Trilogy. This has a whole bunch of bonus content on it, so that's really, really cool. And of course, now they're all falling over, so I need to put them all back here nice and neat. We have Disney's Pixar Up, another good movie. Forrest Gump, of the 25th anniversary. This is also 4K, so it actually belongs over here. Stick that over there. Alright, Titanic. This is also just recently re-released in 4K, so I'll probably get that in 4K. Now, this is interesting. This is the original Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. And this is a Blu-ray, but you can see here, though, that it's actually... this is Region B. And even though I've read that some people have been able to get this to play in their Blu-ray players here in the US, this does not play in any of the Blu-ray players that I have. It just says that it's out of region. But I was able to rip the disc, so I can still watch it and watch it on my computer. But this will not play in any of the Blu-ray players that I have. But still very nice to have that on Blu-ray, though. And Hotel Transylvania, Gravity, Lucy, The Fault in Our Stars. And these last two here are just miscellaneous. This is a Blu-ray of the classic Game Room 15th Anniversary Edition. And this one, this has got an interesting story behind it. This is a Dolby Atmos demo disc. And I ended up getting this for free because the seller took a really long time to ship it out. So really cool to have this. This is just a little disc that contains a whole bunch of demo content for Dolby Atmos and surround sound, some test tones, some video game trailers, all in surround sound, showcasing Dolby Atmos. And since the soundbar I have does support Dolby Atmos, I just wanted to see what it would sound like, so really nice to have that. Alright, so that's it for the Blu-ray movies. Now let's go down to DVDs. I don't have many DVDs because, I mean, if a movie is available on Blu-ray, I just get it on Blu-ray. But there are some things, especially like TV shows and stuff, that never got a Blu-ray release. And one of them is this. This actually is the complete collection of Beethoven movies. Includes 8 movies. And they're all on DVD. So this is a pretty nice collection. I haven't watched them all. I've only watched the first 4. Maybe the 5th one I've seen a little bit of. But these other 3 I have not seen at all. But still a very nice collection to have on DVD. And this is a very good movie here. This is 11:14. And this movie, I don't think it's ever got an official Blu-ray release. Like maybe it has overseas or something. But I can never find a Blu-ray of it, but it is available on DVD. But I think even this is kind of rare. This is also uncommon. This is Intensity. This is this was originally a made-for-TV movie, but you can't really find this anywhere to watch anymore. They don't play it on TV anymore, and you can't really stream it either. So it's cool to have the DVD. I think I got that. That's also from Amazon. And you can get this at Walmart, or at least you used to be able to. This is 54 episodes of Goof Troop. And this is also really cool. Remember Schoolhouse Rock? This is the special 30th anniversary edition, which includes every Schoolhouse Rock song ever created. So this is really, really cool. I remember watching Schoolhouse Rock when I was in school. And finally, this is another classic Game Room DVD signed by Mark Bussler, the original classic Game Room Rise and Fall of the Internet's greatest video game review show. So those are all the DVDs I have. Now we go down to my little collection of CDs. Don't have too many here, but I'm trying to get more eventually as well. This is that Magic in the Streets Parade Memories Disney disc. I've done a demo of a couple times. And a lot of these discs are just like thrift store finds and stuff. This is Paul McCartney back in the U.S. This is one of his live concerts from 2002. And this is another Paul McCartney disc. Another thrift store find. And this is Echo Smith album here, Lonely Generation. And this is a Miley Cyrus album. I think this is one of her later albums. I got this at Walmart. And got this at Walmart as well. The very best of the Beach Boys. And this is a pretty cool disc here. This is Disney's Ultimate Swashbuckle 10-song from Pirates of the Caribbean. This is a pretty neat music CD here. And down here, I got a couple of Christina Grimmie albums here. This is her With Love album. And this is the album that was released after her tragedy called All Is Vanity. Alright, and finally down here just got a few miscellaneous. These are mostly blank tapes that I can use for recording. And a couple of portable cassette players here. And a cleaner cassette here. And some tape head cleaner here. So that's all that's on this shelf here. So now we'll move on to the vinyl collection. Okay, so this is my vinyl setup here. I did make a video on this record player stand, so if you're interested in seeing that, I will leave a link up here, I believe, somewhere. You can click on and watch that if you want to see me assemble this stand and talk about it. You can go watch that video. But the turntable here, I recently upgraded to this turntable. This is an Audio-Technica AT-LP120X. So this is the newer revised LP120. And this is a fully manual turntable, but it does sound really, really good. I like the quality. And I really like the fact that this turntable is a direct drive. So that means there's no belts involved. And that also means that your records will always play back at the correct speed. You can see here this little light, and you see that the dots there, they look like they're not moving. That means the turntable is playing back at the correct speed for 33 1/3. And if I switch to 45, and you can see there those dots, they're not moving either. Now if I change the speed using this slider here, I speed it up, and the dots move to the left, and that means it's moving too fast. And if I slow it down, then they start moving to the right, indicating that the record is spinning a little bit too slow. So I'll set it back to the correct speed, and now the dots are not moving again. So that way you know that your records are playing back at the proper speed. So that's very, very good. Now, as for vinyl LP albums I don't have a whole lot, but I have been getting more, and it's really fun looking at records in the thrift store, and I've even bought a few from Walmart here, because they actually do have some cool albums, like this one here. This, like when I saw this at Walmart, I just had to get it. This is the motion picture soundtrack of the first Back to the Future. Really, really cool. And it's in the exclusive Walmart Orange Mix vinyl. I would take these out and show you, but I don't have any more hands or arms to show that. But still, yeah, so this is really cool to have. And I found this at Walmart as well. This is a David Gates and Bread, one of their I guess, the greatest hit albums. And this is in transparent toasted vinyl. And we have the Echo Smith Talking Dreams album. And this is a pretty cool, this is a pickup from Discogs I just recently got. This is an audio obstacle course. This is like a test album that tests out your vinyl record player, and it tests to see if your stylus is calibrated correctly, and your turntable is calibrated correctly. And it's got a bunch of audio tests and stuff on it. So it's pretty neat. They made a few of these back in the 70s. So it's fun to mess with. This is a Shot in the Dark album. Glenn Campbell, Wichita Lineman album. And this is a really neat one too. This is another thrift store find. This album here, this was back when they tried to make 4-channel audio on vinyl. So if you played this album on a specially equipped turntable back in the day, you would actually get 4-channel audio. So that's really cool for the 1970s. But even played back on a stereo turntable, this still sounds really good. It has really good dynamic range. So yeah, this was a really cool find at the thrift store. It's the 1975 album, Steve Perry's Street Talk, Slow Dive. This is Hippocampus. And this is a band called Nothing. This is their Tired of Tomorrow album. Of course, Chipmunk Rock. Gotta love Alvin and the Chipmunks. And this is J.W. Francis. There's Dreamhouse album and limited edition green vinyl. And this is a thrift store find as well. This is the Television's Greatest Hits. Just 65 TV themes from the 50s and 60s. And finally, I found this at a store recently. This is a Sesame Street book and record album. So if you open this up here, it actually has like a little book here of Sesame Street. So you're supposed to play the album and you read along here in this book with your kids. And I think this dates back to like 1970. So this is pretty cool to find, pretty novel. And it has the original cast as well from Sesame Street. So the original, the Muppets and, Ernie and Kermit and everything. So obviously I'm not a child anymore and I don't have any kids. But if I did, I would probably let them listen to this album because it's still pretty novel to have the original cast of Sesame Street. All right, well, that is all of my vinyls. Although there is one little teaser I'll do. This turntable is also capable of playing back 78s, but you need a special stylus to do that. And I don't have the stylus, but I did actually find a couple of 78s at the local Goodwill. So one day, I'll get one of those styluses, or styli, and I'll try to play back these 78 records. That'd be pretty fun. Okay, now the last thing I had to show you is down here. These are my collection of laser discs. So these are Laserdisc Movies. So like the big disc that's just about as big as a vinyl LP. These are the laser discs. So this is the Alamo, the Deluxe Letterbox Edition, and this is the original director's cut, which my understanding is not. This never got released on DVD or Blu-ray or anything. It did come out on VHS, but this is the original director's cut. So it's the longer, extended cut of the film that never got a DVD or Blu-ray release. It was only released on Laserdisc and VHS. Now this is the collector's box set of Pocahontas. Very cool to have that, as well as the box collector set of The Lion King. These are big, these are heavy, they got a bunch of art books in them and stuff. Very, very neat to have those. And just for staring movies here, I've got this. This is The Perfect World from Clint Eastwood and Kevin Costner. A work in progress version of Beauty and the Beast. And this is The Secret Garden. This is Hook. Josh and Sam. And this is a bunch of classic Disney cartoons from Goofy and Mickey and Donald Duck. Got 101 Dalmatians, the animated movie. And finally, still a sealed copy of Timon and Pumbaa's Wild Adventures. I haven't opened it yet. Maybe one day I will. Anyhow, guys, that is everything. So I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything you want me to make a particular video on, you can let me know that in the comments below. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.